Hello and welcome. I am the Imperishable. Today I've got Owen with me. He is actually just Boris Todbringer. He doesn't have a webcam, so we're using that as his image. We today are talking about the Welsh Open. It'll probably be the last of a big video about the Welsh Open because we are breaking down 7, I believe, of the list that we found were either cool, really nice to see, or ones that we just don't want to play against. Looking at you, Richie. We'll have a look at yours later. But obviously, with the Welsh Open, that's happening next weekend, the 1st and 2nd of Feb. Me and Owen will probably do some stuff on when we're there. I think he's got some video equipment that maybe we can get some videos up on it. But we're going to have a little chat today about these lists. I'm obviously playing my lovely Tomb Kings, and as you could probably guess by Owen's photo, he is playing Empire. So, Owen, talk us through what you're kind of taking. What's your kind of approach to the Welsh Open?
Hi guys, so I'm Owen. I'm playing a City State of None list for the Welsh Open. It's new, so I wanted to give it a go and try it out. I am playing with as many Outriders as I can reasonably fit on the board in skirmish formation without only giving myself cover. So it's 3 units of Outriders. It's going to be lots of fun with the new magnifying glass to stop the long range penalties. It's been mixed in testing, but it's a lot of fun to play, and depending on the pairings, I think it might go all right.
Yeah, because we've played a couple of times with my lovely horrible -3 to shoot, which isn't great for it. But it's very interesting, the list, because the speed and mobility and just the amount of shots you can get against it. Like, you're going to be bringing stuff down. Like, we were talking about the maps of taking down your round one opponent's potential dragon and the amount of shots that you need. Like, it can go down with your list. So it's nice to see. And big thing is, how much magic do you have?
Well, I'm not using magic. Magic. I firmly believe is a crutch, and here we use gunpowder. Okay, like a true man of the
Is it a
empire.
gimmick that I've been told before my cult is? It's just a gimmick.
Yeah,
Sadly.
exactly.
But yeah, as Owen says, he's taking the kind of outrider spam. We played a couple of times. Your list, you had at one point 2 bigger blocks. Now you've gone for the 3, just maybe get a bit more. And obviously though, with these big outriders things, you're like unit strength like 16 on the smaller ones, and it's like 25, 26 on the bigger ones, isn't it? So we were able to play these missions with your list.
Yeah, it can hold objectives. It deals with chaff very easily, like handguns always have. But the big piece de resistance in the list is a 14-man outrider unit with Razor Banner BSB.
Vile.
So if you've got high toughness, high armor save units, it's pretty good reacting to them. It's been saving me against all these dragon ogres you see everywhere.
Yeah. So like, big thing on that, because they're AP1 initially, and then they're armor bay 1 anyway, so it goes to AP2 when you hit wound with 6, and then obviously the razor sound makes it AP4. So when you're shooting dragons and I need 6 to wound you, it's like, okay, I wound you, you just get your ward save. So like, if you're looking at the Chaos Dragon, I know we did some maths on it, but if they don't take the armor and meteoric iron, they just get their 5-up wards if they've gone for a more killy rather than more defensive one. So potentially, with enough shots, you never know, with that Razor standard banner.
Like the answer to all dragons in this game, you have to roll 6s. With whoever's answer you've got, you need a 6. At least with my list, I throw a bucket of dice hoping for 6s rather than 1 or 2.
Your odds are up there because there's so many dice, given the fact that you've got 14 times 3. That's, I'm a maths teacher. This is bad. This is embarrassing. 56 shots. 56 shots.
I think I normally get 39 rifle shots plus a grenade.
Yes, that's it. That was. I'm glad no one knows that I'm a maths teacher, because that is embarrassing. That, yeah, 39 shots. Obviously with the long range, and when you vanguard, if you get that turn 1, which you'll try and do with your kind of, I think it's 5 or 6 drops, you kind of force that potentially you can get that shoot turn 1, and then it's just getting as many shots in as possible, isn't it?
Yeah, and the main thing about the list, honestly, is, like I said, you throw buckets of dice shooting at people, and it's quite good fun.
Yeah. Well, that's Owen's list. He's playing that Empire Spam. We obviously know my list. It's the poison block with some Ushabti and obviously as much wizardry as I can get. But let's have a look into some of our kind of lists that we want to have a bit of a talk about. And the first one is from Chris White and his Nurgle Demons. So I think the reason why we kind of pointed this out is it's the only Demons player. I think Demons this edition are quite weak because obviously, yes, it's great they get that 5-up wards, but your versus anything magical, you just get nothing. And also with Nurgle, they don't get their regen versus magical because they're also warp spawn. So there's a lot of negatives to them. But with potentially this mission, the mission pack, it could be quite tasty. So a quick rundown: it's got 2 heralds, one's a BSB. They're both on foot because I'm guessing they're going these 2 big Plague Bearer units. He's got a great unclean one, obviously level 4. I think Demonology, and I'm thinking he's hoping for Seed Shadow so he can just ping up one of the big blocks because they're obviously slow. Some Chaos Furies, because why wouldn't you? And then 2 units of 3 Beasts of Nurgle. And you've just told me how actually beefed up they can actually be. So what's your opinion on this list and how do you think it's going to do, Owen?
So I think it's coming up against the problem that it is demons, and I think demons struggle a little bit in the old world, like you just alluded to. An army with a large number of magic missiles or easy access to magic weapons like Warriors of Chaos. This
Yeah.
list isn't a huge amount of fun to play, but the concept is really good. He's got the 2 heralds, I assume, in the 2 plague bearers blocks,
Yeah, it
and
should
so
be.
they're giving, I think it's +1 movement from the BSB and re-rolling ones to hit from the non-BSB in an
Yeah,
aura around them.
understood.
So those 2 blocks are like actually really strong, right? They're plague bearers, they're fairly tough. They've got combat res, they're re-rolling ones, they move faster than you'd expect.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good anchor for the missions that we're playing. They'll be hard to move.
Yeah.
Um, Furies are Furies. We've played
Yeah.
against them in every edition. They're fine. They do what they're supposed to. There's nothing really to write home about. But the Beasts of Nurgle are really strong in this version of the game. I think toughness 5 with 4 wounds,
And a 5-up
with
regen.
demon save and a regen, like
Yeah.
that's already strong. You can't flank or rear them in
Yes,
combat
you don't
for
get any of
extra
those
combat res.
bonuses. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
D6 +1 attacks with poison. Also, I think they're AP -1 armor bane at I think strength 4.
It's strength 4
They're
under that, yeah.
they're a very good for value unit, right? Like the 200 points for 12 wounds of toughness 5, 3d6 +3 or 3 attacks is like
It's a
that's a
lot.
pretty good deal.
And then obviously you've got the big Great Unclean one that's T7. So like a lot of things obviously wounding on 6s. So it's a tough nut to crack. But if like we're thinking about these missions, that the game 1 mission, which is hold the centre, just chuck those 2 plague bearers in the middle with your Great Unclean one probably on a side, and then just protected by those lovely what are they called, the Beasts of Nurgle. He's going to win this mission all day long, surely.
Yeah, I think that their opponent's going to struggle to get them off and out of the center.
He
Uh,
he does have a vampire counts with his own kind of blob of undeadness. So it might in this I think it's going to be a slogfest, and so I think it's going to be quite an interesting
I
game 1. This.
I think it's gonna be a difficult game. The vampires player is playing without screams for the most part, I
Yeah.
believe. Uh, and I mean, look, Demon's leadership isn't amazing, but it's pretty good. But this feels like this game is going to go crunch in the middle, and they're not really going to be able to push each other off. I
Yeah,
think.
it's just that you can really hold. Obviously, his opponent, by the looks of it, sorry, I keep jumping about, I believe, did have Blood Knights, so they're going to be quite tasty versus them, I think.
So that's the scary one, right? So Blood Knights, just like Warriors of Chaos, have ensorcelled weapons or their own equivalent.
Yeah.
So if they don't use their lances, they're magical attacks, and that
I think in
Blood
this
Knights are
space
all
you wouldn't,
good.
because you want to get rid of that 6-up, 5-up wards. You just, okay, I'll wound you on a 4 instead, but then you've got no chance of saving, and the amount of attacks you get, and obviously, infantry this edition, you only get that front rank. So if he kills 10 or whatever, he's going to break them, or probably even less, like 7. So it is going to be quite tough for him, but it's a fun list, and that's why we wanted to talk about it. This Demons of Nurgle, and it's full Demons of Nurgle. Oh, I said actually, his Chaos Furies are Khorne, so not as cool.
They're chaos furies. It's fine.
But no, that's our first list, and it was nice to see that Chaos are being shown. Chaos Demons are being shown, and it is this kind of probably more thematic game. What most people say kind of they wish Fantasy Old World was, and it's not this. As kind of our lists are, like yours is very much 40k-esque. I'm playing like Tau, where just sitting back and shoot and jumping about. It just feels like old fantasy, which is going to be great to see in the battle. And well, we wish him kind of good luck basically on it, because who doesn't want Nurgle to do well?
Hell yeah.
So that's our first list with Chris White and his Nurgle Demons. We are now on to our Vampire Counts list, the one we wanted to look at. We went with this one rather than the other ones because the other ones had either like screams, or they went for like mass kind of zombies to just clog up the middle. Whereas this one's got the graveguard and blood knights. So you were telling me how great kind of graveguard are and how blood knights are, but you did mention one thing, that he only has the one necromancer on the mortars engine, of course. You can only do like one res, but they do have the scepter of Denoir. And that means he can do 2, can't he? So he can res both if need be, isn't he?
So he can. The issue is just that necromancer can only be in one place. They do have an extended command range, right? They're on top of a mortis engine.
So 18, yeah.
The problem I see with it is that the blood knights with a vampire want to run off and kill things.
Yeah.
And if they go too far, they suddenly become a bit more susceptible. But look, this list is very cool. Almost every other vampire list there revolves around mass zombies or a huge. I think there's even a 60-man skeleton unit coming to this event, right?
Yeah, I think that's Ed Milton. He brings just fun and funny lists every tournament I've played with him, and I'm looking forward to see his list as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. I just feel like this list has less denial and more killing ability. So I play a lot of vampires myself. I like playing humans or dead humans. It doesn't really matter to me. And I personally play with a big graveguard block as my core, and it's strong. So he's got the Drakenhof banner in there, which means that they've got heavy armor shield for a 4-up and a 5-up regen, which is already on a toughness 4 unit. That's difficult to shift.
It's just that they're T4. They're not just a regular skeleton. It's T4. So like most things are up, like usually we them like 4s or 5, like 5s even versus other infantry, because like a lot of things are like strength 3 kind of core infantry, so makes them really tough. And then you're right, the Drakenhof banner, that 5-up regen on any unit that you want, basically. Joke, absolute joke.
But the bigger thing for me, and this is why I love them, is that look, vampires are slow in general, right? You can't march, the units are undead, you shamble around. On his VSB, he's got the standard of Hellish Vigor to give him a reserve move. That's, like a faux march. But importantly, if you're near that mortis engine, you get +1 initiative, +1 movement. If that necromancer casts Hellish Vigor onto the graveguard unit for another D3 movement, you could be up to 8 movement with a reserve move for marching. That's fast ridiculous. Cavalry speed.
Yeah.
And people do not expect the unit does a reasonable amount of damage. It does not die. And it goes as fast cav. People aren't going to necessarily be expecting it, and it will take objectives really well.
Yeah, it's just that really tough. As you say, you're telling me, it's just something I've realised with like undead stuff. So like Tomb King's also meant to be slow, can't march, that kind of thing. But we seem to be able to just jump around. It's the same with this list. That movement 8 reserve move potential is going to be phenomenal. And he's got 2 little extra pieces. He's got the bat swarms and fell bats. I think the reason why he's done this is because for scoring other missions, because it's only the loot one where it doesn't matter, they can't pick things up. But the one where you have to get stuff to the other side, 5 bat swarms, I think that'll be enough. 4 fell bats, I wonder if they're 10 unit strength or are they war beasts, so they're only 4. But the bat swarms are definitely 15 because they're 3 each.
I know they've got 3 wounds. I'm not sure what they count as. I haven't actually used mine yet.
Yeah, so he's got stuff to play the mission as well. So I say with this game one, he's just going to chuck that graveguard in the middle and be like, "Good luck," and then he's just going to sweep probably around the side of these blood knights and just annihilate whatever he touches.
Yeah, and look, nine Blood Knights full command with a level 3 vampire wizard in there. That's one of the nastiest units at the entire event. Maybe if we ignore dragons, it might be the nastiest
Yeah,
unit at the event. The only problem I see is that one necromancer struggling to keep them both up.
yeah.
Uh,
I know he's obviously got the
it's going to be
BSB
down
for
to
the
how he
reroll.
plays.
So he's got the BSB for the reroll, but I have myself done on Alicia Pay failed twice with a reroll, so it can be quite. If you roll 10 twice, it can happen. He is up.
I think it's going to be down to him to play this well, but I hope he does because I love the graveguard bus. I think it's underused, so I'm hoping he does well.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. That's why you saw it. You really enjoyed the idea of this graveyard bus. So let's hope he does well. He does have Brett's turn one. Obviously, he's fast. He's got 2 units of 5 peg knights as his opponent, with 3 units of mountain knights of the realm and some peasants. So there's loads of scoring in this, but that 30-man blob can hold the centre quite well. If he bounces off with them, maybe not. He doesn't. I've just noticed this guy doesn't have any magic defense. So Charles doesn't have any magic defense, so it means he should be able to get his spells off. He obviously does have the killing blue Duke. He's got the Baron with the Ogre Blaze. So he's got a lot of killing back. So I think this is going to be a bloodbath, this game. The two of them. Once they get in, it's just who can hit first, basically.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that in this the Falcon Horn, which would normally be a bit of a pain for the flying Mortis engine, it's still a chariot. It's reasonably quick, so I don't. There's not too much he's going to have to worry about with defending the Mortis engine and how many spells he's going to get off with it.
Yeah.
And I think it probably will come down to the magic. That Graveguard bus is probably going to bounce a lot of knights in that game. And it's just going to come down to how big can the multi-charge be that the Brett gets off. I
Yeah.
think that'll be the decider.
Because yeah, if he can get both Peg Knights in and those characters in, he might be able to get enough damage through to crumble that unit. Because as I say, you only have to, it's how much you win by, and if you hit them all together, there's a chance. But 5-up regen, 4-up save. We'll see. So that's our vampire counts guy that we wanted to have a look at and say it's slightly different than that, and it's cool to have these two monster units, and we'll see how well they do. Our third list that we're looking at is our very own Shay, and he's bringing his Warriors of Chaos. So I played Shay on the weekend, last weekend. It was a really close game. We chatted about a few changes. But basically, in our game, I killed basically everything bar this Chaos Lord and the Dragon. I think we're going to see quite a lot of these. I think there's 2 Chaos lists out of the 7 that don't have a Chaos Dragon. Because Chaos Dragon in the tournament pack is unit strength 10, so can take up objectives and hold things. So on that loot one, the one that I think everyone thinks is the hardest, he can pick up an objective and kind of just walk away or just keep fighting until he dies. So he's got a Chaos Sword and Dragon. He's got the Mark of Nurgle, Ogre Blade, 2 Favourite Gods, Brazen Collar, and Charging Aura. Kind of the thing you see about, like, it's kind of, this Enchanting Aura is always really important. Ogre Blade just hurts. You get 5 attacks with him, so he can chew through other big stuff. He then has the Sorcerer Lords with obviously the Infernal Puppet, Spell Familiar, Ruby Ring. So he's hoping he gets 3 magic missiles. So like if Shay played this list versus the Nurgle Demon person, he's potentially getting 3 magic missiles. So he's just going to be clearing off stuff. So it's really good there. He's got a unit of 6 knights, because obviously to try and make it so you can hold objectives with Mark of Corn and Lances. He's got 15 Marauders with Markers each, and that's there to house the Sorcerer Lords, be his bunker and be his scoring. He's got 2 Chaos Warhounds. There's a bit of like just chaff. 14-man Forsaken. I love this because they're so tough to get rid of. Run them 7x2. You've got 5-up, 5-up. They're T4. Their attacks are insane. Their ability to get potentially killing blow on all their attacks is insane. Lovely unit. And then his thing that he seems to love at the moment, the warp fire dragon. So he's got a double dragon in this list. I like this list. It's tasty. It's what Sam has quoted as going to be the best Warriors Cat list, and I can see why. Any points on this? What are you feeling with Shay's list?
I tend to agree. I think it's probably my favorite Warriors list there. Look, I think that's sort of the standard Chaos Dragon Lord build, right? And it's tried and tested. We know it's gonna kill whatever it fights, and you're probably not gonna kill it, which means it's 600 points. You're just not gonna get back from him.
Yep, it's a lot of points.
The key to playing against this list is that sorcerer lord. If you can kill the sorcerer lord, the game becomes substantially easier.
Yes.
But overall,
Yeah.
This is a hard list to deal with, I think, for a lot of people. Forsaken are probably my favorite core unit in the entire game at the moment. They're really, really strong.
Core. I love it. They're so good.
I think they're good. Marauders are fine. He hasn't given them flails by the looks of it, which is sort of surprising.
He's just kept them cheap, I think, and it's just they're literally there just to keep the sorcerer lord that little bit more protected, so it can't be like shot off, it can't be cannoned straight away, and it's just there to keep the sorcerer lord that little bit more protected. I think is the plan with them, and then obviously give him the +1 to cast, so he gets a +5 to cast.
Yeah, it makes sense. And look, Chaos Knights of Khorne are really awesome units. I've seen individual Chaos Knights left to the last guy cutting down entire units of chariots. They just put in work. They're very good. And the Warpfire Dragons is just a great topper. I think it's a very, very strong unit. It doesn't need the magic levels. It's just a good value for points.
I think it's a bit of a waste of point because you can only get to like level 1. You get that one spell. It could be a bad spell, and then just keep getting dispelled. So you're just offering your opponent more points. And that warp fire, the no ward save can be massive. It could be. I can really. So if he comes up versus Brett's, this warp fire dragon is loving it because he just goes right in the middle. Makes it so everything within him can't get a ward, and he just starts popping off with the magic spells, and it's just like you don't have your ward, you're going down, and it's tough to bring down. It's a dragon, it's T6, it's got 6 wounds, it's got a regen, full plate. If it's a magic attack, he gets a 5-up ward as well. So he's tough to bring down.
Yeah, it's strong, and importantly in combat, it's still a dragon. And dragons do so much damage.
5 attacks, strength 6 -2. Like, he's a tough boy. It's just a shame.
And importantly, this is just, I think, going to be a hard list to stop from scoring a lot of the time. It depends how early you can deal with some of these smaller units. If you can deal with the Marauders and cut down some of the Forsaken in the early game,
yeah,
you might be all right on the final scores with the objectives. But if you can't get to them, that Chaos Lord is going to force the issue very quickly.
Yeah,
and then you're going to start struggling to get back into the game.
Yeah, because we played a game when I brought a semi-similar list here with the Chaos Lord, and even with all your shooting, it got to a point where like he can't do anything, and he just goes through the lines. He starts killing everything he wants to do. But it's that thing: if you can get these smaller units, so you kill 2 knights, you kill 6 marauders, you kill 5 Forsaken. He's got the 1 scoring unit, which is going to be near impossible to kill anyway. But it means you can maybe push to try and win that mission. And then if it's only a close game, you potentially could win it. So it's that. He's got 4 scoring units, and it's not that many models to bring down. So like the Chaos Knights, like you Shabdi probably killed 2 in a turn. So that gets rid of them scoring. So that's like the strong bit there. It's just dealing with that, I would say. And just try and kill the Chaos Lord. Just give it some shitty units, let him go to the right and left. Just because if that gets into your lines or your big block or your character, he's probably going to win.
Yeah, I think that the big thing against this list, and I don't mind suggesting things for people to do against it because he's got 2 dragons, so it's fine, right? You've got to spread out. You can't let it overrun between your units and kill something every turn, if not every other turn. And you just got to ignore the Chaos Lord. I think you're probably not going to kill it unless you also have a Chaos Lord and you roll better than them.
Yeah, it's just one of those. He is up against Chaos Dwarves though, and this list I think it's a bit tasty. So it's got double Sorcerer Prophet, one on a Bell Taurus with the Mantle of Stone, so that's a T7 boy there, and then one on a Lamassu, and that's the thing of if you fight it in combat, whatever magical weapon you use, it is just a hand weapon. So his Ogre Blade is pointless versus this, and then also he gets a 5-up save because he's got the armor and meteoric iron all the time. So like this guy, the Lamassu, I generally in combat is so much harder to kill than the Bale Taurus, because yes, you're weaker, but you can't use any of your magic weapons. So like the Ogre Blade is pointless versus it. He needs to get that into the Sorcerer Prophet, but the other Sorcerer Prophet is that T7. However, his core is a bit. He's got Infernal Guards. They're not the greatest. They're just like a Dwarf warrior.
The Infernal Guard unit with Sword and Shield is fairly tough. I think it's an alright core unit for these objectives, but overall, they tend to be a little bit overcosted. I think the Bull Centaur Rendors though, they're a good unit. They're Dragon Ogre equivalent or similar, right? They're pretty strong. I think the biggest issue for both of his monster riding sorcerers is that they still can't really fight the monster riding chaos.
God no. If it gets into Chaos Lord, yes, the Chaos Lord might not be able to kill the Lamassu for one go, but you ain't gonna lose that fight. Maybe 2, 3. And
it's also still a dragon. The dragon does a lot of damage.
They are strength 7 dragons, I think. So strength 7 is 6 attacks. The stomps, like he doesn't get the AP2, but it's just that volume of attack. So yeah, potentially you could just clear through it with just the volume of attacks. But he does.
I think it'll be a tough game.
I think the Chaos Guy's the plan if he needs to. Like he either needs to just forget about the Chaos Lords and just try and kill everything else, or if he gets turn 1, try and mortar the Chaos Lord and maybe, you never know, kill it or get it down to like 2 wounds where he then doesn't want to charge it in. Because his things, his Death Shriek Mortar is D6 damage under the hull.
Yeah, that's
his
true.
Death Shrieker Rocket Launcher is D3 plus 1 damage. So there's a chance that if they both hit directly, he could one-shot it.
I'm sure if that happens, there'll be a lot of shouting, and we'll know from across the room.
We'll come and hug Shay and be like, "It's right, mate. It's right. It's right."
Yeah.
So that's Shay, and that's our Warriors of Chaos kind of choice there. We are now probably onto my list that I do not ever want to play or touch in a million years. It is our own, once again, Adam Bassett, the Disco Lord. He is bringing High Elves. He is bringing double Star Dragon. 1 with Cedar Rebuff, Talisman of Protection, and the Dragon Helm. So that guy has a 2-up, 5-up, 5-up. The other prince is bringing the Armor of Calador and a Cedar Rebuff. And so I believe this will give him a 3-up, 5-up, 5-up. Because the Armor of Calador is a full plate and a 5-up wards, which we found out just before this, and we think, what the actual fuck is this? So that's 1,000 points that not a lot of people are going to be able to kill. Great to know. And then he's just got a load of speed. So he's got 2 units of Levian Reavers. Once again, they're unit strength of 10, so they can score. He's got 2 units of 6 Silver Helms. So once again, they're above unit strength of 10, so they can score. A unit of 7 Dragon Princes. 7. They're Blood Knights. So once again, they're a 2-up with a 6-up ward, I believe. With their kind of Blood of Calador, where it is. 2 Great Eagles, and obviously Sisters of Avalon. I hate this list. I don't want to play it. I think I could kill everything else, but there's just no point in me trying to kill these dragons. He doesn't have magic, is the big thing. So Might and Mirage, Column of Crystal can really hurt him. But you might not get the spell off. He might just get touch something and then just keep going through. I hate him. Simple as that. He's not here to make friends. He's here to win. It feels like.
No, I like Adam. We've played some Warhammer. We've talked a lot. The last 2 lists I've played against him, he's played Double Dragon, and I'm starting to like him a little bit less. No, but this is seriously a strong list. It doesn't have any magic. It might be that if you've got strong magic, you can abuse those dragons, block some line of sight, do some other trickery. But this list is very quick: 3 units of cavalry, 2 grey eagles, or 5 if you count Illyrian reavers as actual cavalry. Sisters are good. The list is very strong and very fast, and it's got lots of small scoring units. I
Is
think
that?
you can win the objective here by pinging off a few guys from each unit, but there's 1,000 points you can't get for kill points here for the most part, and that's going to make these games really tough.
It's these triple save dragons that are on a 2 up 5 up 5 up and a 3 up 5 up 5 up. Like, it's just, you just can't hurt it. I think with that 2 up 5 up 5 up, with something that's AP3, so like a cannon, they have a 70% chance to just stop any wound that you do. A 5 up 5 up 5 up makes it 70% of any wound gone through has failed. A 2 up 5 up 5 up, if there's not any AP, there's just no point shooting at it. There is absolutely no point rolling those dice.
Exactly. I think that there are things you can do against this list, but it will be avoid the dragon. I look, if you've been playing Old Will for the last year, you already know that.
I think so. In his first round opponent, he does have a chaos. Who doesn't have a dragon, but has a demon prince with fly, with so it's a souped up demon prince, a sorcerer lord on Manticore, with Crown of Last Conquest, Knights, Forsaken, Dragonose, and a Shaggoth. So he's got some tough stuff here himself. The Shaggoth and Dragonose is going to be tough. The Sorcerer might be quite tough because I think it goes to T. I think it actually stays at T4 with the Manticore. I don't think you get +1 toughness with the Manticore. But this, I just no, not trying to throw shade on Adam here, the other Adam. I just think that double dragon is just gonna have a fun day because you've got no way of properly stopping it. Because even if you chuck in your demon prince into it, if he wins on that combat res, if he does like 2 wounds to you, you're probably crumbling. The sorcerer lord, once again, if that gets into combat with one of the dragons, I think his dragon's probably gonna win over time. And then, like, once again, he's got 3 scoring units of the knights, the Forsaken, the dragon ogres. I mean, they'd be quite good and they'd be quite tough to deal with. But if he clears off those other 2 scoring units, and then it's just the hold in the middle, I just generally think double dragon, triple save. It's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think this Chaos Adam, his list can pick up a lot of High Elf Adam's smaller units. I think the quality is there in Chaos Adam's list. Like on average, his units are better than the High Elves, except for maybe those Dragon Princes. The like you said, the tough thing is there's no real answer to a dragon here. And that's only if there's 1 dragon and he's playing against 2. He will be able to use whatever magic he wants to for the most part. Maybe we'll end up with some Phantasmagoria shenanigans and forcing panic checks, but I think this is going to be a difficult game for him.
Yeah. And because it's hold the centre, like, if you want to win that mission, something's got to be in the middle where 2 dragons can just charge. And Adam might just play that. He might just play chill back. I'm just going to wait until you come to the middle and chuck my dragons forward. Or he'll just put his dragons there. And as you say, like looking at his magic, he doesn't have a lot of like potential like pushing them off kind of thing. There's no Mind's Mirage. There's no column. There's nothing to stop them doing what they want to do. And as you say, he's got enough speed to just attempt to probably just run around. It's going to be tough day at the office. But you never know. As you say, his other stuff is probably better match to match, but it's just they are quicker.
I think the thing I really like about Chaos Adam's list is the Manticore. I've always loved Sorcerer Lord on Manticore. It's a great Chaos vibe, but in this edition, leadership test or giving your Sorcerer Lord Frenzy is a real tough nugget to swallow sometimes.
Yeah.
I've got my own Manticore. His name's Fluffy, and he hasn't made an appearance yet in Old World.
Yeah, and also not giving that +1 toughness. It's only a monstrous creature. It only gets like 2 stomps. Its attacks are AP, just armor bane too, so they're not AP 2, I think. So they're not the greatest at killing as well.
I think for 120 points, it's a little bit steep for what you get.
It's a cool thing because you get the actual wounds. I don't dislike it for chucking a Chaos Lord on it potentially, where if they bring in that 500 point stop, just because it just gets your Chaos Lord with those extra wounds, and then it's not the dragon that's doing the damage, it's your Chaos Lord that's doing the damage.
I do think that Demon Prince and that Sorcerer Lord are going to be able to, apart from maybe the Dragon Prince, they're going to be able to just eat a unit whenever they feel like it,
Yeah.
if they can reach it. The issue is going to be if the High Elf player can end up baiting that Sorcerer Lord into charging a dragon, it's probably going to die.
Yeah,
And
so that's the big
that's going to
thing.
be difficult to play around.
Because if you get in that charge range, you fail that leadership test, it's coming out to play.
And it's a big charge range as well, right? Like Fly 9 Frenzy
Swish
range is
it's 18
yeah.
inches, and that's not too bad to sit at, kind of thing. Because it means his Demon Prince can't charge at that range. Like his Knights can't charge, like nothing else can charge at that. So it could potentially just be bringing him out himself.
Yeah, and importantly, the 18 inches is the range for Word of Pain, which is probably the best spell in Dark Magic, which is what he's taking. So it's really a knife edge, right? Do you want to be able to try and drop some toughness and maybe have a go at cracking a dragon? I don't know if toughness 5 is really going to work, but if you do, you're putting yourself at some sort of risk. I think he could take it if he plays really tactically and he runs circles around these dragons. It's just going to be difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's Adam Disco's list and seeing his matchup. So we are now on to the other Tomb Kings list. So there's only me and Kieran who are playing Tomb Kings, which at first I thought was just really odds, given the fact that, you know, Tomb Kings is meant to be like the bigger faction. You know, it's cheap, it's been out for so long. But obviously the game's been out long enough, people have got their other armies. But there's only two of us. We're both playing the cult. So it's the cult off basically, and we are playing very different cult lists. So I've gone for obviously the shooty spam kind of list, whereas Kieran here has gone for a bit of a monster mash. So he's got two high priests on dragons, both level 4, one with illusion, one with necromancy. The illusion is his general. He's got serpent staff, talisman of protection, and lore familiar. Basically, if you're going to run this dragon, the first one anyway, this is basically your loadout. His other priest has the ruby ring, warding spirit, and staff of aeons. So it's another kind of buff to his combat if he gets in, but I think that's just more of a worst case scenario. I think this necromancy wizard doesn't want to get into combat just because it can't have the spectral doppelganger. So they're both, so this one up here, the talisman of protection, is a 4 up, 5 up, 5 up. The high priest on the other one with the warding sprint is a 5 up, 5 up, 5 up. So once again, they're triple save. They're not as survivable though as the high elf dragons we've just seen, but they are T5. I think with 7 wounds, because it adds 4 the Necron Bone Dragon. So that is a really kind of strong kind of threat, and I'm interested to see how it goes, and I'll probably have a chat with him after day one, see how he's done with it, and see how we've got there. Into his core. So this core I was a bit shocked at. So he's got only 2 Tomb Swarms. I'm a strong believer of 4, just because the amount of wounds that you can just take, because if he's doing 8 spells versus, let's say, a puppet, it can be really painful. He's got 8 Ushabti with great bows. I think if you're ever going to run Ushabti, it's only ever with great bows. The issue with this unit of 8, and I don't know if he might have read the pack or he's chosen it there, he can only run them 5 wide, so he's going to have a 5 and a 3, or he's running 2 4s. I know they've got volley fire, but if you're moving, you're losing 2 shots, so that might be his reason. 2 units of skeleton horse archers, they're unit strength 5, so they can hold stuff. 2 units of 10 skeleton skirmishers. Once again, they're just a nice little piece, and they're going to be scoring units. He's got 3 Tomb Scorpions, which I really do like. 2 with ambush, 1 without. And he's obviously got 1 Necro Sphinx. So this is kind of the flip side. He's gone from the monster spam, and rather than kind of go big and just shooty kind of thing. So he's going to try and potentially cause the opponent to come out. He does have the Ushabti to force people to come out, because they could potentially kill something, and then they have to. Unit 8 is good unit strength though, so it's 24 unit strength. But the rest of his stuff, he's got 4 other units that are scoring. Yes, Tomb Kings can bring them back, but they're not the hardest to kill. So I really like this list. I'd say this is semi kind of the list I was potentially looking at, but I went for this poison block instead. How do you find it, Owen?
I think this is one of the 2 ways of playing this mortuary cults. I think personally, for a shooting list, yours is potentially worse for me because of all the negatives to hit. But in general, big monsters are scary in this version of the game. So I think this list is going to scare a lot of people for its output. Two dragons is always scary. I do think that 2 level 4s with only 2 tomb swarms doesn't feel like a lot, but that makes me think he's going to use the bone dragons to their full capacity, right, and use them as dragons, not
Yeah.
sit back, which is what you should do with an illusion magic serpent staff.
Yeah.
He's a skeleton horse archer enjoyer, which means he's a classy guy, other than double dragon lists, which is good to see. I think he's got a lot of capability of ambushing later on, raising stuff from the sands. This is probably going to be quite a hard list to score the objective against. So this is going to be a good list, I think. A lot of high toughness and a lot of scoring units.
Yeah, so the multiple scoring units is great, and obviously with Tomb Kings, we can just res them. So even though they're only unit strength 10, you kill 3 skeletons, skirmishers. If I get that leadership test off, I'm definitely bringing them back. A big thing is, though, with this list, he doesn't have a banner, so you can't re-roll that leadership test for bringing stuff back. And the one thing I'm not a fan of about the Priest and Dragon, if you're obviously he's probably using it more of a combat guy, is that obviously it's not 360 line of sight, so like getting miasmic and column, you've got to still be in your arc, so that's a bit of a push. And the big kind of fear with this is because usually I don't know how he'll play it, but I'm thinking he'll probably be trying to be a bit more combat-y with this illusion one because it's his general, it's his hierophant. If that goes down, everything else starts going down as well, and it's a large target, so you can't hide it from like shooting or magic that sells. But I like it. It's big, it's dumb, it's fun. It's gonna come at you. Necrosphinxes are just fantastic. That's why it won Ed's on close order. I talked about how I think they are the best monster, non-ridden monster in the game because they're 195 points with a 5/5 T6, D3 plus 2 stomps, killing blow, monster slayer, fly 9, just sex. They're so lovely.
They're very cool. They have one problem, which I don't know if that's going to come up in his first game. Actually, against high elves, this could come up, and I think the biggest failing of a Necrosphinx is ethereal units. I, as a vampire enjoyer, Necrosphinxes don't bother me because I throw a ghost at them and then they can't hurt me anymore, and I'm just okay. And it depends on what this high elf player is running. An ethereal unit could really give him some problems.
So it doesn't look like he's running ethereal units because he's got
Elementalism.
He's got an elementalism level 4 on. I thought he was on something. Is he not on anything? No, he's just on foot.
Doesn't look like it.
And he's got a level 2 high magic power scroll lore familiar. So he's obviously picking 2 spells there, and he wants to pump it out. He's got his obviously unkillable dragon, and he's gone for a proper unkillable dragon here. So he's got the 2 up, 5 up. But he's got 2 opal amulets to give them a 2 up ward once per game for each of them. So that monster slaying thing, I'll roll a 2 up. So his Dragon Prince is very much I can just chuck out. I'm not scared of using him. He then has a lot of speed with the Illyrian Reavers. He's got 4 units of Elven Archers that aren't scoring. I'm guessing they're just for drops, maybe. I don't know why the 4 5-man archers. He's obviously got them there for a reason, but they can't score. 4 Tyrion chariots, that's going to be tasty. A big 4-man unit of chariots, and then 13 Sisters of Avalon. Obviously, we know how great they are. So I think this is going to be a quite good matchup. So we've got dragons on both sides. They've got killing blow on the Tomb King side, quite a lot of it from the Tomb Scorpion and Necrosphinx. I do think that Prince is going to be a nightmare for Kieran, but I think he's got ways of just stopping it potentially. And like even if it gets into combat, like what's great with the cult, like if you're near your other wizards and if they're doing their rezzing, you can see them 2 wounds a turn back on yourself, so that's really big. I think this is going to be quite a good game. I think Kieran does have probably the tools to take down his smaller stuff, but I think Sam is here as a competent player that will basically just probably just play with the dragon and just try and keep everything else alive. because that dragon just isn't going to go down.
Yeah, exactly. I think this game will be interesting. It's going to be, I think, a lot about just movement. A lot of fantasy comes down to movement, but this game more than others. If that prince gets into contact with your hierophant, I think you're going to have a very, very bad game. But
Yeah.
that's the thing that scares your hierophant, and if you can avoid it, I think the Tomb King's player is probably going to be pretty confident this game. But the high elf player, like I said, he's got a couple of answers in there that could really deal some damage to it. And if he does slay that hierophant, I think he's going to get this.
Yeah, that's the crux with Tomb Kings, because unlike Vampire Council, we have that in Vampire Council, you have that chance that some of your units don't care about your Hierophant dying, they don't crumble, whereas Tomb Kings, everyone's crumbling, and he's got a Hierophant that's very going to be out there in your face, or he might be using that. But now if this more, because it's a protection one as well with Column and Miasmic. Miasmic's only 15. Sam is probably a person who will measure that 15. So he can make sure his prince can't get Miasmic. And then just start kind of bullying around. Neither of them have a real big unit strength, though, for holding the centre for this the game. So I don't know what will be. I think Sam might take the mission here, because he might be able to plonk his big dragon on in the middle and be like, if you want to come and fight me, I'm happy to take on anything. Because even the 8 Ushabti shots versus the dragon aren't going to hurt it. You're going to get like two wounds through, 3 at best, maybe. He's got a 2 or 5 or 5 up. You're not going to damage him.
I also think, importantly, that's one of the Tomb King player's only real scoring units. It's probably just as good of a target as the Hierophant is for the dragon first, as an easy thing to pick up. The 4 Tyrannoc chariots, I think, are going to be really interesting this game.
I mean,
they're going to have enough damage to deal with some of these monsters. Maybe not the Necrosphinx, but I'm interested in what happens if 4 Tyrannoc chariots hit the non-general dragon. I think that could go either way.
Yeah, they're only light chariots though, aren't they? So their impacts aren't great, are they? It's the white.
Yeah, it's only 5 up armor. That's all I'm thinking. But we'll
It's
see if they
save,
can
mate.
if they roll enough dice.
It's 70% chance of stopping any wounds.
It's true. It's
That's
true.
a shame. So that's Kieran's list. I think he's got a very tough game on versus Sam. They are mates, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But really good list. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably catch up with him, have a chat with him, see why he's gone that route and not like the poison route. As said, I was looking at a single level 4 and triple Necrosphinx to be like, have all this stomps, have this kind of T6 bodies, and just try and deal with it. So on from Tomb Kings, we are having a look at kind of another one that we thought was quite good fun, quite interesting. It is Liam's Nomadic Waagh. And in this, he has double Wyvern, and that's what we like to start off with. So he's got 1 Walk War Boss with Martag's Best Basher. I think it's like +1 Strength AP2 with obviously Troll High Trousers. He's got a Godman Oblong, level 4 and a Giant Wolf. I'm guessing this is going in a Wolf's unit. Oh, he doesn't have any Wolf's units. Interesting. But that's just there to be a lone wolf shooting, getting spells off, having a bit of fun. Ruby Ring, Wild Magic. I'm guessing he's trying to get the +D3 or +3 charge. Just to make it so he charges and get in. He's got another Orc War Boss and Wyvern with Troll Hide, Talisman Protection, and Grizzly Trophy Rack. Do you know what that does, Owen?
It does. I think it's a negative leadership in like an aura.
Cool. So
Any enemy units around them have a lower leadership.
Cool. So it's that pushing on that terror kind of thing. So obviously it's terror, so it's just causing that. Interesting to see there's no like special weapon on this, but it's an interesting one. And then on to the fun of the list. There's 3 Orc War Boy units. 1 of 18, which are his big uns, and he's got the Thinking Orc's hat and the big red Raggedy banner. So this one doesn't have to do impetuous. It can charge when it wants. It can be a bit more removal. Obviously the big red Raggedy flag, I think it's on every Orc list. Doesn't matter which unit goes in. He then has the 1 Goblin Wolf Chariot. I think that's just to fill up his core, because he probably doesn't want something else. And then he's got 2 more units of Boar Boys. 1 with the War banner and 1 with just the boss. but they both have vanguard. So before he goes off, he's going to be moving these guys up 7 inches and really pressuring in with these orc boar boys, because they have a 3-up save themselves anyway, each. So they're not easy to bring down boar boys, and he's got so many of them. That core unit is a 36 unit strength unit.
It's
Good luck taking that down.
36 unit strength. That's also scary. For those of you who haven't read it, in the Welsh Open pack, it clarifies that the big guns buff also applies to the boars, which
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
So I think rules as written, it probably does apply that way. But to clarify, in the Welsh Open, we will be playing with the big guns buff counts for both the boy and his boar, and so that unit is very scary.
Yes,
very strong.
And obviously, he's got 2 wyverns. They're
yeah.
They're tough to bring down. They are, however, only a 3-up, 5-up, 5-up on one of them, and the other is a 3-up, 5-up. So they're not that great.
I'll be honest. I think the wyvern is the best dragon. I know objectively the chaos dragon is the best on paper, but it also costs 600 points. A 350-point dragon, which is a 3-up, 5-up, 5-up. And it's an Orc War Boss, which is already just a good character. A great weapon on an Orc War Boss is the equivalent to a magic weapon wielding Empire General, right? And it's 350 points. That's incredible. It's so cheap for what you get out of it. I think that our knob on Giant Wolf is good. He just needs to stand near the boar boys for some protection.
Yeah.
And that guy's that's just a good level 4. Waagh magic is one of the best in the game. This list is fast. Spamming boar boys is a big move. I love him for it, and I think it's genuinely a good list here.
It's going to be tough. There's just so many boar boys to chew through, and they've got Furious Charge. So as you say, they just need to get some into you, and they're going to hit you with all the attacks. They're going to really hurt, and it's like this is a list with double dragon and a level 4. So usually it's a dragon and a level 4. Like if we looked at the last Chaos list, that's what Shay was running. But this guy's got double dragon and a level 4 that isn't one of the ones on a dragon. It's just this is a great list, and this is a bit, in my eyes, a bit fluffy. It's just got all boar boys with 2 Orc War Bosses and wyverns. Let's go at you.
It's a very cool list. It's a nomadic waagh, and he's played into it being a nomadic waagh. And I also think that, look, everyone's going to talk about the favorites to win being the really meta lists, right? Yeah. Chaos Dragon, spamming gyrocopters, whatever. I think that's a list people are going to sleep on and not realize how well it's going to do at this event.
Yeah. So he's got Chaos, and he's got his own Chaos Dragon to deal with. However, I think this Chaos list, by just a quick glance, isn't the proper meta like Shay's gone for. So it's still Chaos Dragon with Mark Nurgle. He's gone for the Demon Swords. So this is the thing that gives you plus D3. Is it 2D3 strength or something ridiculous, or is it just D3 strength minus 2 plus?
It's the one that gives you just +1 flat to a load of stats, right? So it turns the Chaos Lord is already the best unit, stats. And
is it not the one that gives you plus D3 strength, fight first, and each one you hit is the wound to yourself?
Oh, it could be. It's the one that eats your own unit.
Of the rune sword.
Yeah, you're right.
So
right.
This is the
ones with this weapon are the ones that hit yourself. Right?
Yeah, and it's got strike first. So this is the one thing I like. If you're going to run the demon swords, and I've got it for the one day I've gone for a corn list to play with my dragon, is you don't take the enchanting aura on this because he strikes first anyway. That's the only thing I'm confused about, because the demon sword gives you strike first.
I mean, to be fair, he knew there was going to be a reasonable amount of elf dragons here, and he was right. In fact, there's 2 in one list, and there are 1 in several others.
True.
And I guess it's for that. There is a chance that despite having worse stats, an elf dragon just going first can kill you as a Chaos Lord, especially if they've got an Ogre Blade.
And he's only got a 4-up, 5-up here. No, he's got a 3-up, 5-up because he's got plate armor. But yeah, it's that.
I got big respect for him regardless, because my man's 100%. Actually playing with Chaos Warriors. Some of the best models they've ever made. I wish they weren't as many points as they are, but we live in the world that we do.
So yeah, he's got 2 units of Chaos Warriors. One's Nurgle, one's Zeech. I'm guessing that's where his Sorcerer Lord's going to go. Sorcerer Lord, and this is I've never seen this before. Doesn't have Infernal Puppet. No Infernal Puppet in a
This
Chaos
guy,
list. What Chaz?
this guy is not a slave to the mayor. This guy is he's never Googled Chaos Warriors online tournament list. He's taking stuff that he thinks is cool, and I think it's going to work for him in some games.
Big up.
Is going to struggle against Jay's list, but otherwise, I think it's not a bad list, and he's got good objective scoring compared to some of the other lists we've seen.
Yeah, he's got a couple. He's got, I say, the 2 Chaos Warriors. He's got Chosen Warriors. 250 points for 10 models. That's just so painful.
Hell yeah, great weapons.
So he's got Chosen. He's got Chosen Chaos Knights. Bloody love Chosen Chaos Knights.
Strong, very strong.
Mark Corn, they're a 2-up thing. So this is a bit of a fun list, but I do think you never know with those Chaos Chosen. If with the counter charge, they could probably potentially take out the front rank of the Boar Boys. So,
yeah, I think this list has got some teeth. I think he's also forged his own list, which is really nice to see.
Yeah,
I think he's got teeth. So those Chaos Warhound units, War Beasts count as cavalry, as far as I know. They're a subtype of cavalry. So they're actually, even 5-man Chaos Warhound is scoring in this.
they're War Beasts. I think they're only unit strength 1, unfortunately. So the 10-man would be scoring. I think the 5-man isn't, unfortunately, there. But it's a good list. I think it's going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a proper... I think this game will be over in like an hour and a half because they're just going to probably get at each other and just charge. And it's
going to be a fun game for sure. They're gonna throw a bunch of units into one another and see how it goes, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Does the double Wyvern beat the 1 Chaos Lords? We'll see. So we have one final list. We saved it to last because it is horrible. Richie, you're a bad man for playing this list. It is Richie's gyrocopter spam. So he has an all. Oh, he's got 2 characters. I didn't realise he brought the Thane. So he brought an engineer for his general, a 55-point model to just sit by some organ guns. He's got the shooty Thane with obviously the Master Rune of Bursting Flame, Rune of Accuracy, Rune of Rapid Fire, Rune of the Furnace. I don't know what that does, but it's interesting to see. He then has 2 units of 2 Scout Gyrocopters. Very nice. They hit on 4s, I believe, or 5s with the multi-shot, but move and shoot can go 20 inches. Really fun. T4 5-up save, so they're a bit longer. 2 units of 12 Rangers. There he's kind of scoring units. He'll scout them somewhere and try and score. And then he's got 2 units of 5 Gyrocopters. 2 units of 5. They've got 5d6 shots each. They're hitting on 5s with the multi-shots kind of thing, because they don't care about moving. They've got T5 with a 4-up save, and they are a scoring unit. He's got just a solo gyrocopter. He's got 2 more units of 2 scout gyrocopters and 2 organ guns. This is just ridiculous. So he has 2, 4, 5, 10, 15. He has 19 gyrocopters. 19d6 shots a turn.
19d6 shots a turn that can march their like 18 or 20 inches, whatever it is, and still shoot you with them.
And Vanguard, I think they all have Vanguard. And
Vanguard, well. Yeah. You said earlier about my list being a little bit 40k. It can do shoot and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, if mine's 40k, this guy's playing a different game.
So what's great about this list is obviously his entire army is skirmishers. So his gyrocopters and all that can skirmish. They go wherever. They move so fast, so 18, 20 inches, because they can march and shoot with the clatter guns. There's one with a steam gun. Don't know why he's done that.
That's just to make
points. Yeah, I guess that's points to get another gyrocopter in. But these clatter guns, they're 24-inch range. So the best thing to try and get rid of these gyrocopters, combat-wise, is maybe a peg. It only has 19-inch range. Just go sit 19.1 away. I'm going to shoot you. Just going to mess with you.
And it can always march its 18 away to get out of that charge range and shoot you. This is a tough to deal with list. I really don't want to play it.
I think there's going to be some games where the opponent might be like, look, I'll give you a 15-5 and we don't play. Because this I look at it and my list, and it's not trying to big myself up versus Richie. I think I can deal with it. I'm not going to say I can win against it because Richie is a phenomenal player and he knows how to play this. But I've got you Shabdi, and that's my best defense. I'm just a shooting army that doesn't really care about his shots, so I can make him -1 to hit with just my casket. I'm not saying I can beat him, but there are some lists that cannot touch this army. And I think his game one opponent might generally have that. Because if you've got shooting, you'll be right. Yeah, he's up versus Matty, once again, our local boys. And he's got kind of like a traditional orc unit. So he's got nothing that can catch his things. And I feel so bad for Matty. Because Matty's a lovely bloke. His army's lovely. He plays it really well. But the only thing that can really catch him is this Black Orc and Warble on a Wyvern. But he only charges 18. And if he just goes to the out of his line of sight, you can't charge me. I think Matty could win the mission if he holds strong in the middle with his units. But I generally don't think Matty's going to get a kill here.
So the only thing he's going to get easily is that Black Orc War Boss ignores all the stupid flying little dwarf things and he kills 2 organ guns. And there's a couple 100 points for you. And you hope that all the gyrocopters don't somehow kill him. They probably won't kill an Orc War Boss with 2 up, 5 up, 5 up, but this game will be very difficult.
But he's just going to shoot everything else. Like, he just shoot off the Night Goblins turn 1. He'll shoot off... Like, the Black Orc mob he's got there. Yes, they're on a 3 up, but it's AP -1. Wounds with 4. 3 rounds of shooting by, with 10 gyrocopters can probably mince that down. Like, his Boar Boy unit. Yes, they're 3 up saves again. But you're just going to get shot. The Giant and the Mango Squids probably aren't going to do much because they can't get there in time. And it's just horrible because all you've got to do is just get outside of arc and you just can't shoot him. It's going to be vile. And I can't wait to see Richie and see how well he does. I want to know what beats his list, because I think mine could, if I get lucky with some riles, because I can shoot. But you look at some other combat lists, or try and play the mission, they just can't do it. Richie,
I think the things that fight Richie's list well are things like magic missile spam. Yeah. You see Beastmen players with 2 level 4s on chariots slinging a load of spells.
A Vile Tide.
Those types of things can they're tough enough not to go down immediately, and they do a lot of damage to gyrocopters, but there's not many of those here. I think the only Beastman player I saw running double brace Shaman he had them on foot in gore units. That's never going to touch him. There's not a lot of spell slingers here, really. Maybe 1 or 2 lists.
Yeah, the Chaos ones with the Markers each, Blue Firestorm, that's quite strong versus them. But the normal gyrocopters is toughness 5. That's hard.
Yeah, look, I think the way that you can beat that list is if Richie makes some mistakes in his movement with them and gets them caught somewhere against terrain or a corner of the board. Yeah. But Richie's a good player, and it's not likely to happen often. No. It's a very, very strong list, and I don't have a lot of good things to say about it.
No, it's the thing though. Even if you're in terrible charge range, they can fire and flee. They'll get out of your charge range, or they'll just flee. And they're your leadership 9, so they're always going to rally back up and then do the same, shoot you, and now you're out of position. And that Thane alone can clear stuff off because it's strength 4 -1, always hitting on 3s with 2d3 hits. That's his chaff clearer, or another chaff clearer.
Yeah. That Rune of the Furnace, by the way, is I assume just to make up points. It's a ward save against flaming attacks.
Yes, he did save because there are quite a few things. I think it's there to really protect us, like something.
Yeah, Ruby Ruin, stuff like that. Right? Yeah.
But this is. I don't think Richie's going to make many friends. He's a lovely bloke. I played him at the last GT in the Firestorm. Absolutely lovely bloke. We had a great game. We've been chatting, basically saying some chat LGT, but I don't think Richie's going to make mates with this list today. This tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'll find him a very friendly, lovely person. You're not going to have any fun playing against him.
No, no. So those are our 7 lists that we've looked at. Okay, I think out of those, the two I don't want to play against is probably the High Elf Double Dragon and potentially Richie's, just because he's such a good player, be able to get away where I can't shoot him very much, and he'll potentially keep clearing me off. But that Double Dragon list by Adam, I think as well. Obviously, we haven't looked at all the lists because obviously that would take forever. We just picked out 7 that we thought were quite fun or interesting. But let's just go to it. Owen, who do you think's going to win the tournament?
That's a difficult question. I think some of it might come down to pairings to see who plays against who, but I think Richie's got a very good chance. I think Che's got a good chance. His list is very strong, but I really want the ball boy enjoyer to win. I think his list is strong enough, and it's going to depend on who he plays against. But he can pick up a huge amount of points in this event. I think.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The tournament isn't on win, loss, draw. It's on tournament points. So, aka, if I win 5 games 20 and 0, and I lose my last game 11-9, there's a good chance potentially I could still win it with 89 points. So it's that. So killing is worth it. So that's why that ball boys list is there for the killing. And it's semi-tough with those double wyvern. So that's why I like the idea about Richie's list, because I think it's so hard to bring those things down. He could potentially clear enough, and then his gyrocopters can score on certain missions. Like the general one's gonna be quite hard to stop because he's just got his engineer, and if you've got a fast
55-point engineer at the back,
yeah, there's a chance that potentially you could snipe it, kind of thing. But no,
but yeah, I think those are my favorite 3 lists for likely winning. I I do love the graveguard bus. I hope he does well. I don't know if he'll win, but I'm hoping that he proves out the graveguard bus and at least is the best vampires player there. I've got some faith in him.
Yeah. But no, I think it's gonna be a great tournament. We're really looking forward to it. It's next week. It's been out, like, talked about since last year, like November, December. So it's finally coming, and it's one of the first kind of GTs in our kind of area that's running this kind of tournament pack made up by Ollie. So it'd be really interesting to see how the missions play, because I was on the England Discord, and I think Richie made a really good point that some people haven't made lists for the mission and are just trying to get that 17-3 win by just killing your opponent. But we'll see. We'll see if the missions make a massive difference, or are they just going to be things people forget about, or if they do win them, they've won them when they lost, so it makes them a 14-6. But I think it's going to be a great tournament. There's 50 players. I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be fantastic. So yeah, any last points, Owen?
No, I think it's going to be a good event. I'm really looking forward to it. I need to finish painting. It is a week away. The biggest thing about this event, I think, is that it's been about a year now since Old World's come out. So we're really, it's still a newish game. People are still trying things, but we're getting to that point where we are seeing some lists being dominant. And I do wonder at what point some change is going to be made. So as strong as it is, a list of entirely gyrocopters, I don't, how long is it going to be until people don't want to play against that anymore? I wonder at what point will we start seeing comp packs and things come out potentially this year for Old World. So I think this might be one of the big GTs that, depending on the outcome of this, that might happen sooner if we see those sort of lists really dominate big events.
Yeah, I think on that. So yeah, it's this cool. Obviously, let's talk about WTC and kind of like Team England, Team Wales, kind of get that. So it's seeing that kind of drive, and hopefully we see it from GW, kind of proper support. If not, we have to rely on like the committees that they've had since 8th Ed and 9th Age, and see how that goes, and see how it kind of pushes towards the gaming sphere. Because obviously these missions aren't GW; they've all been made up, kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see. But I did think of one final thing about Richie's list. I really want him to play versus Brett's with the Falcon Horn and see what happens.
That would be a travesty.
I bet his opponent. I bet his opponent just fails constantly. Rolls like 12.
Yeah.
That's
Look,
that'll
honestly,
happen.
it's only the first turn that matters. If Richie gets first turn before they can blow the horn, I think it's already a little bit too late. But
Yeah.
if the is the Brat player with the horn, are they playing Exiles or are they playing?
I think 'cause there's only 5 brats. One is exiles,
Yeah,
4 are not. I think the
okay,
one that is does have it. I believe still. I think he still has the horn, so he obviously
okay.
gets to re-roll his.
Yeah, so he's not looking forward to playing against the Exiles player. He might go first, but otherwise, I think as long as how many drops does Richie have? It's fairly low drops, right?
No, it's quite high because all of those things are separate.
Oh yeah.
It's like 10 drops. It might
All
miss
right,
that, but it's a lot.
then playing against that Exiles player might give him a cause for concern, but otherwise, I don't see it being all that bad for him.
But also don't forget with that exiles list, he doesn't have his ward save, and he ain't probably gonna get him because he ain't gonna get
Yes,
into
I don't
combat.
think. Well, he is if they're all movement too, and the horn worked.
I think they're moving one. I think
Oh,
genuinely they're
okay.
moving one. But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say we will be doing some reports from it. I will probably look to do a full tournament report and then try and maybe do a breakdown of each of the games in separate videos. But that's us. That's us there. I think we're all just prepping now for the actual tournament. I've got 11 models left to paint. That'll be 2 skeleton archers. And I think we're all just ready. I think we're all playing our last final games and just prepped and ready. And I'd say we'll keep you posted of how it goes. So thank you for watching. And ta